The once again, replays will be out at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So the Revitalize and Reclaim event is a 2-day event. It is 3 hours each day. We do have a break. You can, but I do need a commitment that you're going to attend both days of the event and that you're going to be on time and be on camera because it's very participatory and it is a very high quality event. So click the link. Everyone who comes in the event. I'm telling you, they always see results. By the way, start implementing right away. And those who implement day one's material see results right away the next day. So maybe you're like, I really can't commit to 6 hours. I get it. We're coming into the holiday season, but you want to know what's going on. Hop on a quick 15-minute call. I call this the next best step weight loss audit. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions to find out what you are currently doing. And then I'm going to look for red flags, what I call red flags. And I'm going to choose the red flag that I believe for you would be the priority to start working on. And I'm going to give you some recommendations as well. There are some questions to ask when you schedule that call, just because it'll expedite our time together, because 15 minutes go by so quickly. So you make sure you hop onto that. I've had women say that was the best call they've ever been on because they were able to make connections between what's going on and why they're struggling to get the results that they've really been trying for years to get. It is a free call, by the way. However, if you're like, 15 minutes, what am I going to get in 15 minutes? You do get a lot. I do have a longer weight loss audit where we really dive deep, and specifically when it comes to here, because oftentimes lack of consistency is there's something going on here. There's some resistance. And so that 45-minute call is really to dive deep to find out what is your resistance to keeping action. I'm looking for other things as well, but the main thing is, what is the resistance here? Why are you consistent, but then you're going back to old patterns of behavior, and really digging into that? Because it doesn't matter what program you do, who you follow, what you do, if you don't address this, and it's so much more than just mindset, you're going to have thoughts that aren't in alignment with you getting to your end results. You're going to have emotions that aren't in alignment with you getting to your end results, and you're going to go back to your default setting. We are human. It happens. And your default setting is the status quo, what you're currently doing right now. The unconscious, subconscious mind, it's the same thing, unconscious, subconscious. Some people prefer unconscious because the word sub means less than. But the unconscious mind, I like to call it super conscious because it's really a super conscious, drives 90% of our behavior. So if we don't tap into what your unconscious mind is driving your behavior and start to reprogram that, you're going to get the same old, same old. Same old, same old, same old, same old. So that is actually my VIP gift for those who upgrade to the VIP offer, a 45 minutes longer weight loss audit. I'm looking for red flags again, but I'm able to give you a 30-day game plan, by the way, by the end of that call, steps to take for the next 30 days, and that'll be with your VIP upgrade. So if you do want to upgrade to VIP, let me just put the link here again. If you're watching the replay, it's actually at the top of the page and then at the bottom of the page. Oh, my cat lasted 30 seconds. Come on. Come on. Yeah, I gotta close it. Sorry. Go back up in your dresser. There's a dresser that he gets on so he can look outside the window. All right, so question for you. Are you under stress? Do you experience stress at all? Let me know. Right? No one struggles with stress, right? We all struggle with stress. And so yesterday when I talked about sleep, I mentioned the hormone cortisol. Some of the other speakers talked about it as well. So let's talk about stress. Let's get you overcoming the stress, because you can now out diet, out work out a body that is under stress. You just can't do it. It's not feasible. And you will end up with more weight and the inability to get to your end results. So let me share my screen with you. All right. By the way, if you have any questions during any of the presentations, just post them in the chat. At the end of each speaker's presentation, if you want to, you can unmute yourself and ask your question verbally or type it in the chat as well. All right. So from stress to success, managing stress for a healthier, fitter you. I've been in this healing work for 20 years. And I truly believe it is healing work because we're healing the body not only physically, but oftentimes, and more often than not, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally as well. And stress is a big component to all of the above. So here's what you will learn what stress does to your body, how it impacts your weight and your weight loss efforts and your overall health. I'm going to also share with you how to de-stress in like 2 minutes or less so that you can resist those sweets, not binge eat without giving up your favorite foods, so that you can sleep better, so that you can potentially get more consistent with taking action, so that you can have better energy. I'm going to share with you how you can burn fat. It's as easy as breathing and it's free. You don't have to pay for it. And discover when you learn and implement this one tool, how you can keep the weight off for good. Whoop, whoop. I see this so often with lots of women. Stress is such an issue. So here's going to be my secret. Start your day off right. Less is more. Breathe and breathe some more. So let's get into it. So let me just get a little background. Stress impacts every single cell and organ in your body. First of all, it increases cortisol production. Now, cortisol in and of itself, it is good. Our body needs cortisol. It really does. However, chronic stress will lead to high cortisol levels throughout the day, and we don't want that. As I stated yesterday, when it comes to sleep, cortisol should naturally follow our circadian rhythm. But for some women, it's out of jack. What I mean by follow the circadian rhythm, it means that cortisol is high in the morning because it helps us to wake up. Okay? And then throughout the day, it slowly decreases. So about nighttime, it sets at its lowest. Why? It's because it's helping us to fall asleep. It's helping us to fall asleep. So potentially, if you're not sleeping well, your cortisol might be high in the evening. And if you're really exhausted in the morning, your cortisol might be low and you might be jacked up. It might be the opposite of what it really should be due to chronic stress. Our adrenals pump out our cortisol. So if you've had years of stress, your body is barely able, potentially pumping out cortisol at times it shouldn't be, and your adrenals are just kaput. Like they're so tired, they're barely pumping out anything. I've seen women whose cortisol levels are pretty much flatlined, and then they actually have to take medication to supplement their natural cortisol levels. That's not good. If you get to that point, that is not good. That means you've been under years of chronic stress. So why do we want cortisol? Remember, I said cortisol is good, but the chronic state of cortisol is not good. Because when we're in a state of stress, cortisol increases in the body, and cortisol is a type of hormone. It is a glucocorticosteride. Glucocorticosteride. Gluco meaning sugar. So cortisol is sugar. When we are under a state of stress, back in the day, our stressors used to be something we either needed to run away from or something we needed to physically fight off. And so when our cortisol increased, it was to give us energy in order to do that. And then when we had that fight or we ran away, our stress response was normally turned off, naturally turned off. So, by the way, there's two components of the central nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, think S for stress, and then the parasympathetic nervous system, think P for peace, rest, and digest. So now we have increased cortisol when we're under a stress event so that we have energy. And then also what happens is our blood is diverted from our stomach and our intestines to our arms and our legs, once again, to help us to run or to fight. So if we don't have blood supply, and that's not all the blood, but blood's just diverted from our stomach or intestines, digestion is literally turned off, and so is rest components. So you're having difficulty resting and digesting if the stress response is turned on. By the way, your body will always opt to help you in a stress event. So if you've got stress turned on, your parasympathetic, your peace and rest digest is always going to be off. If you can't find ways or manage stress better and naturally turn stress off, you're barely digesting your food and getting good rest. So if you're not doing that, then you've got cortisol, sugar, that's kind of hanging there. Now you've got blood sugar dysregulation or imbalances. So let's talk about blood sugar for a minute, because cortisol is a sugar. Blood sugar dysregulation in the diabetics, if you are a diabetic or pre-diabetic, it's the high, 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 high. So you're high all the time. That's concerning. Absolutely, it's concerning. Our body wants to be in balance with blood sugar. Blood sugar is a number one driver of inflammation in the body, and inflammation is a number one driver of dis-ease in the body. So you got cortisol hanging around. Now you got blood sugar instability, blood sugar imbalances, but also stress can, from food intolerances, can cause highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows, high, low, high, low. That's just as damaging to the body, cause inflammation. So that's why we really need to manage stress and turn off the stress response so you're not so high, low, high, low, high, low in your cortisol, or chronic stress where you're pretty much hanging higher with your cortisol. Stress also decreases nutrient absorption, and that's because our blood's been diverted from our stomach and our intestines to our arms and our legs. So even if you eat a really good, clean, healthy meal, your body cannot uptake it. It won't, because it cannot digest it. So it's basically a big old goose egg, like it's null, it's void. If you're eating while under stress, you're not going to uptake it. And that healthy fat in that meal is going to be put in your body for future fuel, fat on your body. The nutrients that you've just eaten, your small intestine cannot absorb, so they get excreted from the body. And stress utilizes a lot of nutrients. It utilizes a lot of nutrients. And so if you are running low on fuel already, with what's called your metabolic reserves, meaning you don't have enough nutrition in your body to stabilize and help you during a stress event, by the end of that stress event, you're going to get sick, you're going to get really tired, and you're going to think, oh my goodness, during the stress, I felt pretty decent. Why am I sick all of a sudden? It's because your body used up every single thing you had left in it. So we really do need to properly manage stress. Here's what also happens. Stress increases excretion of calcium, which we need for heart and our muscles, magnesium, which helps calm us down. It helps our nervous system, potassium, which is important for heart. How many of you have heart palpitations? Zinc is beneficial for immune support, chromium, selenium as well, and then other microminerals. So now you're not uptaking, now you don't have them in your body, and your potential for getting sick or having other health issues increases. Plus, it decreases the gut flora populations. We had some really good discussions yesterday on day 2 about gut health and the gut microbiome, which is the second brain. There are neurotransmitters in our gut. So if you're decreasing the good gut flora population, you're going to have a gut that's jacked up. And it's going to prevent you from releasing weight, and it's going to cause additional health issues. You could have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. You could have which candida is one of that, SIBO. You could have H. pylori, other small infections that can happen within the bowel. Skin disorders, eczema, psoriasis is often a gut issue. Nutrient deficiencies and digestive distress. So it also decreases your thyroid hormone, which can negatively impact your metabolism. It slows everything down. A low functioning thyroid slows everything down. So then your metabolism is not working as efficiently, which is another reason for weight gain and difficulty releasing weight. Now, back in the day, it used to be, I'm a nurse. I've been in this healing industry for 20 plus years. And so it used to be back in the day that thyroid tests started in your 40s. Now they test thyroid way early because they started to see that women in younger ages, their thyroid was being impacted way before their 40s. In fact, I had a friend who during her pregnancy, she found out she had low functioning thyroid when they did the thyroid functioning test. Had they not done that test, she wouldn't have known it. And she's like, no wonder I've been so tired all the time. Plus it decreases sex hormones. I mean, if you're low on energy anyway, and now you've got decreased sex hormones, you have no energy to play. You got nothing going on there. So let's get you some really practical strategies. I'm all about being very practical with strategies to fit any lifestyle and any life recipe. So let's start with this one. Way easy is, first off, toss it back. If stress depletes your energy, let's make sure you start your day with energy and not from a low energy standpoint. A real quick way to get immediate energy is with water. Toss it back. I'm talking about a whole 20 ounces of water. This is a liter, so 20 ounces is probably about here-ish, up there. So let me take a sip. So, and the reason why is because when you're in bed, you typically aren't drinking water. You might get up, use the restroom, take a sip or two of water. So you might end up a little bit dehydrated. Now, I'm not talking about medically dehydrated where you need IV fluids. I'm talking about you're just dehydrated and it will impact your body's energy. So here's the reason why you want to toss back water. Does anyone remember the molecular structure of water? It actually looks like Mickey Mouse, like a face and two ears. Taking back to chemistry back in high school, right? The molecular structure of water is H2O, two hydrogens and one big oxygen. Ooh, water has oxygen in it. Oxygen is important for our cells and our muscles and energy. What? Yeah, so you're actually getting oxygen into your system, which increases your energy. So tonight, before you go to bed, I highly advise get 20 ounces of water ready to go, either on your nightstand or in your bathroom. So that first thing in the morning, when you wake up, drink that as much as you can, 20 ounces of water. Now, if you're one that you hardly drink any water at all, it's going to be difficult at first to get the full 20 ounces in because your body's just not used to it. So drink as much of it as you can before your cup of coffee, before your breakfast, before you do anything else. Toss back the glass of water because once again, it's going to hydrate your entire system. It is vital for cells, for tissues and organ regeneration, and also helps your blood to be at the right consistency. There's a lab test called fibrinogen, and that lets you know if your blood is sticky or not sticky. Just drink the water. Just drink the water, Karen. Just drink the water. Don't worry about that. That's a great question, but just drink the water. If you want to, brush your teeth first. Just drink the water, okay? Great question though. So fibrinogen, it's a test that sees how sticky your blood is. We don't want the blood to be sticky because that can cause clotting issues in your body. However, it doesn't mean you need blood thinners. It could be you just need to hydrate yourself. You just need to drink more water to let your blood not be so sticky. I used to work in a functional medicine clinic, so I can speak to labs. And it keeps your blood the right consistency, that's what that means. And it helps deliver oxygen to your muscles, which immediately boosts your body's energy. I had a client of mine in my Beyond the Fork Academy. And when she said, I'm really struggling with energy, and she's a nurse, she worked in a very busy surgery center. And she's like, I feel like I'm eating pretty healthily. And for the most part, she was, but I just gave her a simple, easy tip because she's very busy. I said, just start off with 20 ounces of water first thing in the morning. She goes, yeah, I drink water throughout the day, but she's like, yeah, I really don't drink it in the morning. But she kind of looked at me like, what are you talking about? Just drink water. I said, look, just do that for a week, 20 ounces first thing in the morning. And then we'll check back in next week. 3 days later, she's texting me, OMG, this water thing, game changer. She said, I have so much more energy. And she's like, who would have thunk that just drinking 20 ounces of water would be such a game changer for her? So plus it'll help you to reach your water goal for the day, by the way, when you're starting off with water as well. 20 ounces as much as you can. And then another second point to this one of start off your day with energy is eat breakfast. With one hour of waking, actually within 30 minutes is best. Actually in 30 minutes of best. Most women who come to me with the weight loss audits or the 15-minute calls, they're not fueling their body efficiently at all. Most are either skipping breakfast or not eating breakfast early enough for their day. And they're not really doing intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is a whole nother ballgame. It's very nuanced. So you actually want guidance on this, on intermittent fasting. And this is not the session for that. If you have questions about it, get on the 15-minute call and I can talk you through that a little bit better. So within 30 minutes or an hour, 30 grams is best because it'll give you energy. help us to have energy when we're stressed so we're not so depleted in the morning. Part of the reason why you have low energy in the morning is you're not properly fueling it in the body, fueling your body. And then by 10 a.m. comes around, you have that energy slump. Most typical Americans eat the standard American diet, which is like for breakfast, which is like if they eat breakfast at all, by the way, which is like pancakes, waffles. They might have a scrambled egg, maybe a little bacon, but it's not really sufficient enough protein. And although that's great options, by the way. And so, or they go local coffee shop, and what's there typically is like the bagels or the pastries. And now that we're coming to holiday season, they'll have their holiday kind of goodies out as well. And so now you get your cup of coffee with caffeine and loaded with sugar potentially, and then you're eating high carbohydrate, low nutritionally dense foods. So 10 a.m. you're bottoming out with your energy level. So within 30 minutes, if you can, or an hour of waking up, if you're like me, I got to be honest, I'm not one to have a lot of volume of solid food in my body first thing in the morning. I've never been that way. So for me, I brought it with me today. I actually start with a protein shake. This is 20 grams. They also have like a 30-gram one. It's Aloha. We talked about this yesterday about good protein sources. And so the reason why, yes, there are many out there, but I usually recommend Aloha or OWEN, stands for only what you need, because you can more easily access them and get them no matter where you live. Because Walmart has them, your local grocery store will have them. Mostly the OWEN shakes. I haven't really seen the Aloha ones. You can get them right off of Amazon, thrivemarket.com, or you can go right to their website. But by the way, OWEN shakes at Walmart's are like really good price. I just gotta say, like they're less expensive compared to website and compared to Amazon and Amazon Prime, just FYI, OWEN shakes at Walmart. And every so often they have a sale in there. They might be like $2 off, or like they come in a 4-pack at Walmart. I got like 4 shakes for like $2. It was a big discount and they weren't advertising it. So that's why I recommend these two, because they're vegetarian. I really do not recommend whey shakes because whey dairy in and of itself is inflammatory. Plus, it mimics your thyroid, and dairy destroys your thyroid. Remember I said thyroid tissues within the 40s? Part of that, and now we're seeing it earlier, part of that is because the dairy. I have a good friend of mine who's a naturopathic physician, and she lives in Wisconsin. She grew up in Wisconsin. She goes, I get it. I grew up in the cheese state. She said, but if you look at the research, not the research that comes out of the state, because it's big dairy here, and I'm not bashing dairy. I'm just giving you the information. You do with it what you will. Should all the information's coming out like Sweden and New Zealand and all the studies, they find that dairy will destroy your thyroid. So if you are going to do dairy at all, do for clean sources. Organic, grass-fed, grass-finished dairy is always best with that. So that's why I don't recommend a whey shake, just because it is inflammatory and it can destroy your thyroid. So these are all vegetarian. This is a chocolate sea salt from Aloha. It is my favorite. It is so yummy. And everything's organic. And yes, it does have sugar in it, but only 5 grams, low carbs. It has fiber with that. So protein first thing in the morning, within 30 minutes, if not within an hour. If you're not one to eat a whole big breakfast, get a good protein shake. That's always my go-to. All right, now let's talk about this one. Number 2, less is more. You can see it's a little bit cup of coffee there. So let's talk about caffeine. Caffeine in and of itself increases cortisol. However, the increase is not a whole lot for most people to impact their blood sugar. If you're more metabolically fragile, then potentially caffeine will impact your blood sugar. But for those who are not metabolically fragile, caffeine in and of itself won't impact their blood sugar, but it will increase cortisol naturally. Okay. Now, for the most part, we kind of gravitate to some caffeine, whether it be the coffee or the tea or an energy drink with caffeine in it, when we're under stress, because stress depletes our energy. So we will often gravitate towards the caffeine. However, the University of Oklahoma did a study when it comes to caffeine and stress. And they said drinking 2.5 to 3 cups of coffee, by the way, a cup of coffee in their study was 6 ounces. Your local coffee shop is 12 for a small, right? So multiply this. So decrease the number. So if you're drinking 12 ounce, you're going to be your 1 cup here. Okay. Just keep that in mind. They're a cup of coffee with 6 ounces. While under mod stress, increases cortisol by 25% and keeps it up for 3 hours. Oh, you got some blood sugar imbalances going on. Okay, they also found that drinking 6 cups of coffee while mildly stressed increases cortisol 30% and stayed high all day long. So if you ever felt like you just can't stop eating, or your energy's impacted, or you're struggling to get through the day, check to see how much caffeine you're consuming while you're under stress. First off, most women can't tell, they don't feel when they're under stress because we go from task to task to task, and you're such a go-getter that you don't feel the stress in your body until you're in a body breakdown, you're sick, something happens in your body, you've got weight that won't come off, but your body's been in a state of stress all this time. You're just not feeling it unless a big stress event comes into play. Most women that I work with, they've been at a moderate level of stress for years because they don't feel their stress because they're so used to pushing through. I get it. I used to work in a very busy ER, and I would push through the days because I had to by nature of my mushroom coffee. Just check to see if they have added caffeine, but mushroom coffee for the most part does not have caffeine in it. That's a great question, Joan. Yeah, but just check the labels just to make sure they haven't added anything caffeine wise. Oftentimes it'll be more of a green tea. So green tea has less caffeine. However, sometimes with some more of natural energy drinks, I'm not talking about the 5 hour energy that you get in the grocery store. I'm talking about good ones that have like some really good stuff in it. They'll have enough green tea in it to equivalent a cup of coffee, and they will say that on their label, like how much caffeine equivalent to a cup of coffee. So that's a great question. Yeah, so just check your labels for that. So I'm not saying don't caffeinate. I've got my cup of Earl Grey tea again. I'm on a tea kick this week. Sometimes it's coffee, sometimes it's tea, but my Earl Grey is my favorite. Even the scent of it, because it's not berberine, bergamot. So bergamot helps calm the nervous system down. So as I smell my Earl Grey, it's like, woo. And sometimes coffee can be that way too. Sometimes it's not even the first sip, it's the scent of coffee, because your body's so used to having the caffeine. I get it. Now, my caveat to this is, if you might be thinking, well, I'll just drink decaf coffee. I do not recommend decaf coffee, because to take the caffeine out of coffee, it is a contaminated process. It's a very chemical process. So now you're just putting more chemicals into an already highly chemical produce if you're not drinking organic blend. With coffee, by the way, if you can, get at least an organic blend of coffee. So great questions. So number 3, we gotta shut down the stress. Remember I said it's the easiest breathing and it is free. All right, so deep diaphragmatic breathing has been shown to literally turn off the stress response. Remember I said back in the day, the stress event was we need to fight it or flee it. And when we did that, we naturally turned off the stress response and we were not in chronic stress mode. But today it's more mental, more emotional than physical. So we're not naturally turning off the stress response. So we have to be proactive. You have to be proactive in taking steps to do this, so you're not in a chronic state of stress. So deep diaphragmatic breathing, and the reason why I share this is because it's used as treatment for anxiety disorders, PTSD, because it really, really works. It literally turns on the rest and digest response. Remember, when stress is on, digestion and rest is off. You can't properly digest your food and you cannot rest, because stress is on and stress takes precedence because it impacts every cell in your body. So deep diaphragmatic breathing actually works. In fact, I just did a quick Google search on deep breathing and stress, and here are all the journal articles I found on it. And the list went on and on. I just kind of screenshot it, like the first couple. And this over here on the left, on my right, on the right, it's the NIH did a study they studied other studies on deep diaphragmatic breathing and stress. And they found that it can actually help with the inflammatory response category. So that means it's going to help with your inflammation, decrease your inflammation. So that's really great because, once again, inflammation is the #1 reason for dis-ease in the body and weight gain, and making it difficulty to release weight. So there are just a couple of studies there. So I typically teach there's all kinds of ways to do this. The main thing is breathing all the way down, that using your diaphragm to breathe. I'm going to demonstrate this for you. You can go on YouTube. YouTube's great, lots of free videos. There's box breathing, there's 4-6-7, there's all kinds of things. I personally like 5-5-7. And the women that I work with who've done breath work, they prefer it as well. But whatever means you choose, just as long as it's that deep diaphragmatic breathing. So the 5-5-7, the first 5 stands for you're going to inhale for a count of 5. The second 5 is you're going to hold that breath for a count of 5. The 7 is you're going to exhale for 7. So the exhalation is longer than the inhalation and the hold. If you do, so 1-5-5-7, inhale, hold, exhale, that's 1 repetition. If you do this 10 times, you will de-stress in 2 minutes, because it takes about 2 minutes to do it 10 times. If you do it 5 times, that's 1 minute. So you literally can turn off the stress response in 2 minutes or less, which is amazing. Why? So then you can turn on your digestion, properly digest your meal, and also fall asleep faster and sleep better. So I always recommend, if you like, I can't tell, I don't think I'm under stress. Here's how you can tell. How quickly do you eat? If you eat very quickly, you're under stress, because stress speeds everything up. Your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases, you're breathing faster. So stress ramps everything up. Why? Because it's preparing us to fight or to run. But once again, our stress is emotional, mental, and we're not running or fighting. So everything is still ramped up though. So we just need to turn that off. So if you're eating quickly, you're eating while stressed. So I always recommend before your next meal, because it doesn't matter how healthy you're eating, it's like null and void if you're under stress. You're not going to uptake it. And my clients in my academy, they do what's called an InBody or something similar. There's like a strike. It's a piece of equipment that you can get at your local gym. Local gyms mostly have it. Your functional medicine provider, chiropractors have it as well. And you literally stand on it with bare feet and you're holding the handles. And what it does, it's scanning your body, and it's looking at your percent body fat, your visceral fat, which is the fat that surrounds your organs. It's telling me your weight, but it's also telling me your skeletal muscle mass. It's also telling me, for some gyms get this, but I like to see phase angle because it tells me how happy your cells are. And so when I look at their InBodies, when I look at their results, I can always tell when they're under stress, because they lose muscle mass and they increase fat. By the way, the number on the scale tells me nothing. It really tells me nothing, the number on the scale, because it just tells me your weight, but it doesn't tell me skeletal muscle mass, and it doesn't tell me, how happy your cells are. So stress will definitely make you lose muscle mass and increase fat. So before your next meal, and whenever you feel like you're stressed, do deep diaphragmatic breathing. Okay, you can go on YouTube and find videos for that. I personally like the 5-5-7 as well, because as the research shows, there are so many benefits to the deep diaphragmatic breathing. So when you breathe, you're going to breathe in through your nose. And I heard someone once say, how can you tell if you're deep breathing? It's because someone standing next to you is going to hear you. All right. So you're like, you can hear me inhaling. And then the exhale, I like to say, you're going to make the noise like Darth Vader, or like the ocean. And you have to use your diaphragm in order to exhale. I can't make that noise. I can kind of, nope, can't do it without using my diaphragm. So you inhale through your nose, hold, and then exhale using that sound. Do it 10 times, that's 2 minutes. You can de-stress in 2 minutes or less. By the way, you want to make sure that you're sitting in a comfortable position with your feet on the floor. I'm on the shorter end of things. I'm only like 5'1", barely 5'1", and so I actually have a little step stool for my feet because my feet won't touch the ground on this chair I'm in. So I have a step stool. So however you're sitting, if you use a step stool for your feet, but your feet is flat or as flat as can be, and then you want your, I'm going to demonstrate this. You don't want your neck to be this way because you're closing off your airway. You want it even. You don't want it this either. You want it even. Get that airway open. Okay, not here. You want to sit so that your airway is open. Talking in medical terms, I'm a nurse. So that you're open so you can get that deep breath and you're not clamped off. When you first do this, any type of deep diaphragmatic breathing, it might be a little difficult to get that full breath in or to hold or to exhale because things get tight in your body when you're under stress. Shoulders can come up, you can get some tightness in your neck and shoulders. And so as you start to do this more frequently, you're doing repetition after repetition and your body's coming down, you're getting your body out of a state of stress, you'll find you're able to inhale all the way, you're able to hold all the way, and you're able to exhale all the way. So I recommend 10 repetitions. If you're short on time, at least try to get in 5 repetitions before meals to make sure your digestion is turned on, and then also before bedtime. If you're having difficulty falling asleep, just do some deep breathing, get your body out of stress. Stress, as I shared yesterday, stress and anxiety are the #1 culprits to sleep issues in the body. All right. So has anyone ever done a deep diaphragmatic breathing before? A lot of people do yoga. Thanks, Deepak. I look taller on Zoom. I have a tall chair. So once again, when we do the deep diaphragmatic breathing, it will increase your digestive capacity. Let's digest a healthy meal that you are eating so it's not null and void, so to speak, and help your body pull more nutrients. Your small intestine can absorb all those nutrients, and then the food won't be stored as fat. Like the healthy fat you're eating won't be stored on your body as well. Awesome. So don't forget to grab your gifts from me. I do have the weight loss in 20 weight loss in 20, that one's not on the slide. So the 20-minute weight loss method. And then Deepak says he has, I know you do your deep breathing. 20-minute weight loss method. The weight loss audit is not the 30-day game plan. It's the next best step. So the next step for you, I look for your red flags. And I'm giving away free tickets to my upcoming Revitalize and Reclaim 2-day event. It is for women. I know men have joined the docu-series. And so we're going to help you to conquer low energy, crush cravings, master your thoughts and emotions, helping you to start on your journey or restart again with holistic strategies and systems from the 2-day event, specifically helping you to get more in tune to your body, to start listening to your body better, and to understand what those signals are that your body is giving you. All right, any questions about that? I'm going to grab your links again. Any questions about stress, deep breathing, all the goodies? Let me find the PDF download for you. So before you eat next, do some deep diaphragmatic breathing. Make sure your body is out of a state of stress. Just posting links to the gifts here. What teas do I recommend? Obviously organic, especially since heavy metals can be in teas. And then any organic tea. I like Pukka, P-U-K-K-A. They have a really good peppermint licorice, if you like licorice, peppermint licorice tea that has a natural sweetness to it. That is a decaf coffee. That is a decaf tea. Green tea is really good. I've been in a stage of my life where I tried all the different green teas, but with green tea, be mindful of your brewing times because it will turn bitter if you brew it too long. So stick with the brewing times that they recommend. Trying to get one last thing. I did that. Awesome, great question. Yeah, so you can play around with what teas that you like. You can also get into, you'll get the tea leaves. Get the tea leaves. So if you have any questions, I'm going to post the Environmental Working Group, ewg.org, is a really great, they have a database. So if you go on their website, it's always going to be a pop-up. Usually there are clean 15 and dirty dozen list of the produce that is the most dirty, come to herbicides and pesticides, and they're clean 15 that are the cleanest when it comes to herbicides, pesticides. But if you look under the resources, it's like 3 or 4 tabs over. If you click on that, they have a huge database. And so they're always looking at all different products, and you can put that in there, like a tea, breads, things like that. And it'll come up like what that they have found if they had enough data. Is it EWG, recommended? They'll have their seal, meaning it's really clean. Go for it. And then it gives you a different level. So it's a really good database to look into. Sorry, I thought my cat was there. And then don't forget, you can upgrade to VIP to get that 45-minute longer session with me, and also most of the speakers have additional gifts and offers as well. So if it's an offer, it's 50% off for you guys. You can take your time. You have lifetime access to everything as well. Awesome. All right, so let me stop recording my session.